2021 Board of School Directors Reorganization Meeting is called to order. The Boyertown Area School District Board of School Directors holdover members are Mr. James Brophy, Mr. Brian Hemingway, Mrs. Lisa Hogan, Ms. Christine Nyman, and Mr. Roger Updegrove. At this time, I'd like everybody to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Pursuant to Section 4-402 of the Pennsylvania School Code, this is to notify you that a meeting for reorganization of the Boyertown Area School District Board of School Directors is held tonight, Tuesday, December 7th, 2021 at 7 p.m. at the Boyertown Area School District Education Center in the boardroom. The Boyertown Area School District Education Center address is 911 Montgomery Avenue, Boyertown, PA 19512. At this time, do we have anybody signed up for public comment period number 1? On behalf of the Board of School Directors, I would like to welcome you to this meeting. We welcome your attendance and input from stakeholders to assist us with making recommendations and decisions related to the Boyertown Area School District. The procedures and rules for public participation are detailed in BASD Board Policy number 006. This document is available at this meeting and on the BASD website. Participants properly registered on the sign-up sheet will be recognized by the presiding officer. During public comment period number 1, it is limited to topics on tonight's agenda. Participants must preface their comments by an announcement of their name, address, and group affiliation if that is appropriate. All statements, inquiries, or comments shall be directed to the presiding officer. No participant may address or question board members individually, administrative team members individually, school employees, or members of the public individually. Note that we value and will not compromise the privacy of our students and staff. Please see us outside the realm of a public meeting if you have a concern about an individual staff member or student. If your public comment includes a question, Mrs. Torsha or a member of her staff will be in contact with you to confirm your question and provide you with information. Comments are limited to 3 minutes and comment periods are limited to 30 minutes. Individuals may indicate a desire to speak a second time if there is time left in the 30-minute period. Finally, note that we do record our board and committee meetings and we post them on YouTube with a link on our website. We request that if you do wish to take pictures or record the meeting yourself, you do so in a non-disruptive and discreet manner and use those materials respectfully and responsibly. Thank you. We have one individual signed up to speak, and that is Ms. Cassandra Rooney.
Hi, good evening. My name is Cassandra Rooney. I live on Manatawny Drive in Pottstown. Feel free to drive by and check out our Christmas lights. I do share that with the community. So just want to speak tonight and welcome our new members. Welcome Tony, Kirsten, Ruth, and Jeff. We are excited to have you. Excited to see what changes you can bring that benefit our children. And that's all I really have to share tonight. I'm just really excited for you guys.
At this time, I will ask for nominations for temporary president.
And the temporary president can only be from the individuals who are seated at this table. This is not the board president. This is just to operate this portion of the meeting. So it's one of the three of you. Okay.
It's just temporary for tonight.
Yes, just to run the meeting. Okay, we have, you only need one nomination. So a motion to close the nominations and cast a unanimous ballot in favor of Mr. Hemingway to be temporary president would be in order. I'm sorry, there's one other individual there too, so it could be one of the four of you. Sorry. Second. All those in favor? Okay, so you are now temporary president.
Can all give me a second just to read through what I just received?
You want me to go through the list, or with Patty?
I do have the list.
Okay,
Here, is that appropriate?
Okay.
The following individuals have been elected to serve a 4-year term. In Region 1, Ruth Diroff. Region 1, Kirsten Lord. Region 2, Anthony Penanero. And Region 3, Jeffrey Zawada.
It is my understanding that we've received certificates of election for each one of these individuals from the respective Board of Elections of either Montgomery County or Berks County. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So these individuals are now eligible to be seated and sworn in as board members in the district.
I have reviewed and in receipt of the certificates and am satisfied with my examination. Now, I guess we have the choice of doing individual swearing in, or as a group. What we would like to do as a group of 3 or 4, or individual.
Do you want individual or collective swearing?
Collective.
We'll swear together.
I swear. Okay, well.
A Bible? You brought one? Okay. Anyone else want a Bible?
If you have a Bible or somebody that you'd like to hold it, have them, you guys step forward and then just repeat after me. Okay, repeat after I. I do solemnly swear.
I do solemnly swear
That I will support, obey,
that I will support, obey,
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and defend the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and that I will discharge the duties of my office with fidelity.
that my office with fidelity.
Thank you all very much. Congratulations. Thank you. I want to announce that Jeff Zawada was actually sworn in earlier today. We have a notarized seal that the deed was done. It's unfortunate he wasn't able to be with us here tonight. We wish him well and welcome him to our board.
Yep, and he is with us on the phone.
He is.
Oh, he's
Yep,
attending.
he's here
He is
in
attending.
attendance, yep.
He's attending virtually.
So let the roll indicate that Mr. Zawada is also present at today's meeting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 9 board members. We have 8 board members physically present and 1 board member virtually present for this evening.
Looks like next on our agenda will be the nomination and election of our president. I guess it is, yes ma'am. Oh, okay. No, I'm looking for a nomination. Ms. Diroff. I'll second. Oh, I'm sorry.
No second.
Chris, you have a question? Any further nominations? Okay, with that being said, Mr. Sultanic, it's appropriate to take a vote?
No.
No?
Fine.
Yeah, a motion to close the nominations would be in order with, and that does require a second. And we could have a roll call vote.
Hogan motions.
You get to nominate yourself, right, President, right?
You could.
Yes, I nominate myself for president.
You were already nominated by Mrs. Nyman. Okay.
This is one nomination, so you're already.
If a motion to close and a second passes, it will be Mr. Brophy or you, Mr. Updegrove, who will be up for balloting as board president.
I'll second it, but somebody still has theirs on.
Okay. So there's a motion to close and a second. That would be all those in favor, say aye. Now balloting by the board secretary would be appropriate. Please call each board member, and each board member should clearly state, including Mr. Zawada, who is here virtually, who they are voting for, either Mr. Updegrove or Mr. Brophy.
We'll start with Mr. Zawada. Would you like to vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove as board president?
Mr. Brophy.
Can you say that again, Mr. Zawada?
Mr. Brophy.
Thank you.
Mr. Updegrove, would you like to vote for Mr. Brophy or yourself?
Myself.
Mr. Panarello, would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Brophy.
Ms. Nyman, would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Updegrove.
Ms. Lord, would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Brophy.
Ms. Hogan, would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Brophy.
Mr. Hemingway, would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Brophy.
Would you like to cast your vote for Mr. Brophy or Mr. Updegrove?
Mr. Brophy.
And Mr. Brophy, would you like to cast your vote for yourself or Mr. Updegrove? The tally results are 7 votes for Mr. Brophy, 2 for Mr. Updegrove.
Mr. Brophy will be the board president for the upcoming school year. Congratulations.
That'll bring us to nominations for vice. Take over.
It could be either.
Either one, you could continue in the capacity as temporary president until the session is over. Okay.
Fair enough. I'll continue looking for nominations for vice president. Mr. Updegrove. Go ahead, Lisa.
I nominate Brian Hemingway.
Any other? Ms. Diroff? Do I have a second? Ms. Hogan, we have a second. We'll go to a vote.
Once again, balloting will be in order. There are two nominees, Ms. Nyman and Mr. Hemingway, for Board Vice President for the upcoming year. The Secretary will poll the board members, try to clearly indicate who you are voting for.
Ms. Diroff, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
Mr. Hemingway, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or yourself?
Myself, please.
Mrs. Hogan, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
Ms. Lord, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway? Or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
Ms. Nyman, would you like to cast your vote for yourself or Mr. Hemingway?
Myself.
Mr. Panarello, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
Mr. Updegrove, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Nyman.
Mr. Zawada, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
And Mr. Brophy, would you like to cast your vote for Ms. Nyman or Mr. Hemingway?
Mr. Hemingway.
By a vote of 7-2, Mr. Hemingway was elected as Board Vice President.
Mr. Hemingway, congratulations on your vote as Board Vice President for the upcoming school year. So the officers obviously have changed for the upcoming school year.
Next on our agenda, we have the BCIU. Can we move that to our discussion on committee discussion and go right to the authorization of the signature stamp?
Yes.
Would that be fair? Okay. All right, do I have a motion to authorize the use of the existing signature stamp until a new one is prepared reflecting the board's new officers? Ms. Diroff, do I have a second? Mr. Updegrove? I don't know what we would have to talk about, but any comments? If not, we'll go right to a vote.
Ms. Diroff,
Yes.
Mr. Hemingway,
Yes.
Yes.
Ms. Lord,
Yes.
Ms. Nyman,
Yes.
Mr. Panarello,
Yes.
Mr. Updegrove,
Yes.
Mr. Zawada, and Mr. Brophy.
Yes.
Motion passes unanimous.
Okay, next on your agenda, if you're all familiar that we do have certain committees and appointments that our president will appoint. I'm not sure if any of those we vote on. The BCIU, is that a vote or an appointment?
That would be an appointment as well. Actually, they would be voluntary, like you would,
Well, actually, the board should vote to nominate the individual for the BCIU. Technically, the BCIU fills the position
okay.
based upon the nomination, but it's not done by presidential appointment.
Okay, so we do have different committees. I'm sure Mr. Brophy is going to want to discuss and address certain committees that you may have interest in. Be vocal, be honest, and I'm anxious to see what ideas he has, and between the two of us, we can come up with what we feel will be good liaisons, whether we want to continue with some committees, we want to add some committees. Welcome to the board. If you have comments and concerns, be involved. That's a good thing. We are going to discuss from now until then, and Mr. Brophy, I don't want to speak for you, but in that time period, if you have a certain area that is your expertise or a desire to get involved in the board, please reach out to either he or I, or Ms. Torsia, and you know, you guys can discuss, you know, how we can make this machine work. We're going to actually have nominations, I believe, at the next meeting on the 14th, or nominations for the BCIU, and then also Mr. Brophy will make the adequate appointments. So until then, feel free to ask veteran board members. I hate to call myself a veteran, but I guess going into it, or even past board members who served on certain committees. So again, you know, we're all about discussing and collaborating to see what's best for our district. So that's all I have on committees right now. And Mr. Brophy, anything you want to add?
Yes, if you have an interest in a committee of some sort of other committee or some sort of position, please feel free to reach out, because we'll be looking to fill some of those positions. We know we have some open ones right now. BCIU is one. And there's other things out there we might want to move forward on and discuss with the administration as to maybe some subcommittees. And that'll be an ongoing conversation. And we would look to people to some of the board members who have some expertise or some ideas of what they would like to do. So we'd like to move forward on that over the next few weeks. So I appreciate anybody's input. I also appreciate anybody's interest. Thank you.
Just to follow up with regard to the Berks County Intermediate Unit representative position, there will not be a meeting for December for that board. There will not be a board meeting for December. However, there will be an orientation meeting being held on Tuesday, December the 21st, and there is information at everyone's spot so that they can see what the commitments would be to sit at the or be the representative for the BCIU. They meet 10 months out of the year. That they don't meet in July or December. They meet on the third Thursday of each month. The meeting starts about 5:30 with a pre-board dinner. Then there's a 6:15 committee of the whole meeting, and then a 7 o'clock voting meeting. So they do all of their business in one evening. So that's the time commitment, and it really would be much of what all of you do here, voting, making decisions only at a larger level. So there'll be information in the weekly newsletter for you, as well as what is sitting at your places.
Thank you, Ms. Torsia. That's going to lead us next to our board comments. What I would like to do is we'll start. I'm just going to work from my left. We're going to do Mr. Zawada, Mr. Updegrove, and work our way around. However, I'm going to skip our new president and go to Ms. Deeroff, and then end with Mr. Brophy, if that seems adequate. So, Mr. Zawada, any board comments?
Yes, I have just a couple short ones. I want to congratulate my fellow new board members. I look forward to working with you and working with the current board to do everything possible to make us the best school district and make our children the smartest. I also want to thank the administration and the board for all their help that they did for the last 2 days to get me where I was sworn in. I apologize. I did not expect to start my term limit 6. So we did get that all handled. I look very much forward to working with everybody again. And Ms. Torsi, thank you again for all your help. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Murphy. First, I just wanted to apologize to my colleagues for my lateness and any disruption it caused. I apologize. It was unavoidable, but I do prefer to be on time. I wanted to congratulate the new members of the board and welcome you all to the board. So congratulations. I wanted to congratulate our newly elected board leadership. And of course, you have all of my best wishes for the coming year. And then I wanted to just take a moment to recognize the 80th anniversary of the attacks on Pearl Harbor, which of course happened today, 80 years ago. My grandfather served in the United States Army, and my grandmother volunteered with the USO The memories that they shared with me are of a time when the soldiers and the citizenry together came together to fight the great threat that the Axis powers posed in Europe. Those were, of course, fueled by racism and hatred. Members of that generation came together in service and sacrifice to provide an ultimate victory, which I am sure we are all very grateful for. I know I am. So I just wanted to take a minute to recognize that generation. As we know, we lose members of that amazing generation every day. So any members that are still out there in our area or in the entire country, I just wanted to show my appreciation for. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hogan. Ms. Nyman?
I guess I'll try to talk without that. Welcoming everybody new, thank you for coming out and committing to our board. Hopefully now we can do something about getting rid of the mask for our students. That's a top priority because we need to start with our education. We're here for education, but we can't educate because of the mask. And it's really hurting our students mentally, physically, emotionally. They're not learning, they're not progressing. I just read some articles lately that their scores are way down. So we need to do something about the masks so that we can get on with what we're supposed to be here for, is the education of our students. So hopefully we can do that very quickly and get moving. Thank you.
Want to say thanks for having me here. Obviously, I'm glad to be here and to be a part of this, moving us in the right direction. I'm going to piggyback off Ms. Nyman and say I hope to move us forward in the right direction where we're getting rid of the masks as soon as possible as well. Other than that, I hope to get involved and get us going in the right direction.
Ms. Lord?
I just want to say thank you to everybody who supported me and stood by me. I'm excited to see where this goes, and I'm ready to work with everybody on the board.
Ms. Diroff? I have a quick one. I just want to welcome our new board members. Thank you for the opportunity to continue to lead. I'm looking for an exciting, challenging year, but together I know we can do it. So thank you all. Congratulations, Mr. Brophy. The floor is yours.
First, I'd like to welcome all the new board members. I really look forward to working with everyone, the present board members and the new board members. It's going to be, I think, an exciting year. I believe we will begin and move forward transitioning from the present pandemic situation back to normal. Not new normal, but normal. It's not going to be easy. We may have some stumbling as we go forward, but I do believe this administration has done a great job in keeping our kids in school over the last year and a half. Has everybody agreed with what the board and the administration has done to do that? No, they have not. But that's what we felt needed to be done. And we will continue to do things to make sure the kids are in school. But I do believe one of the things I want to see this year at the end is when we're sitting there at the Santander the convention center, is there's a couple things I want to see. I want to see the kids' eyes. I want to see the kids' jaws, the determination for them to go forward, the pride to be there, the pride to be a Boyertown graduate. And I want to see the people around, the parents, the grandparents, the uncles, the aunts, all the other family members, see their faces also and the pride that they have in having a Boyertown graduate. So that's where I like to get to. That's where I think this whole board would like to get to. And that's what we're going to try to get to at this point. Thank you.
That leads us to superintendent's comments.
Thank you, Mr. Brophy. I just would like to also congratulate all of the new board members, and that I do look forward to working with you. I have a couple of reminders for you that the school board training dates have been updated, and we will be reaching out to schedule administration meetings during the month of January to help you get acclimated to the administration, and just to share a little bit about what each of our administrators does and what they head. A reminder for our new board members to see Mrs. Moyer, if you haven't already, to get your picture taken. And also just wanted to note that the school district would be sending departing board members their picture and a small gift of appreciation as well. So thank you, and welcome, everyone.
Okay, that brings us to public comment period number 2. Mr. Sultanic, since we did read our statement for public comment period number 1, would it be appropriate to not repeat that, or would you prefer that I do?
I would prefer that you didn't.
I do too. Okay, I certainly agree, but I wanted to clarify just to make sure that we kept our procedures. In other words, everybody behave. So we're all in this together. So I do have some sign up for public period number 2. I believe it's John Dobbs. Thank you, sir.
How's everybody doing? I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for running and caring about our children and trying to get back to normalcy. Not new normal, but normalcy. And secondly, I was not planning on speaking tonight. But based on the new normalcy that I see here, kind of makes me think, yesterday I saw on TV a 100-year-old World War II veteran, 100 years old, okay? He's standing in front of a bunch of kids and talking about how great the country is. He's not in a mask. He's not hiding behind plexiglass. The kids aren't locked in bubbles. This is a man who really seen what fear is and lived through it. And he talked to these kids and told them how great this country was. The kids left there saying they feel pride for their country. They said, I could be anything I want to be. I mean, I haven't seen kids that enthusiastic since, they were allowed to get a mask break outside. Now, that being said, what really struck me was walking in the door, and my wife had her mask and I didn't. And I have an armed guard telling me to put my mask on. And I just said, coincidentally, nicely, if I don't, you'll be removed. So we go from a 100-year-old veteran who has the strength to get up in front and talk in front of these children to a group of people in a room too small to really house all the people who want to speak. And then getting told by an armed guard that if I don't have a mask on, that I'll be removed while people hide behind plexiglass. Granted, I know there's a litigious environment, and I know the superintendent does not have an easy job because his voice is on both sides. I get that. But at this point, between vaccines and everything else we have with treatments, I think we can move forward. And when we talk about the new normalcy, I want to bring up a couple things. Yes, it's been hectic, but buses are not running on time. Every day we get messages, right? The cafeteria doesn't have the food they need. A couple of things I put down. The younger kids are now a pass-failing grade system. They're not really graded on merit. It's just like, okay, you did good enough or you didn't. So we don't really keep an eye on that. So while we focus on all these things about plexiglass and everything else, are we raising the next generation, or are we raising the next group of, fast food workers that's supposed to be in a transitional job that will be there till they're 50 because they don't understand math? Because the parents are too busy arguing, should they have plexiglass or should they not? If you want to come to school and wear plexiglass around your desk, do it. If you want to wear a mask, do it. But that 100-year-old gentleman that stood in front of those people fought for the right for us to have that choice. And if you're not endangering anybody and you're comfortable enough to come to school, you've taken that risk. You can walk out your door and get hit by a car. Everything is a risk associated. The last thing is, my 9-year-old son said that he was excited that the masks might get lifted. And a friend of his said, could you imagine? And not an excitement. This 9-year-old boy said, could you imagine, as if masks were gone and this plexiglass was gone, that would be the new normal. How terrifying that would be. Now, looking at that 100-year-old man and then hearing that a 9-year-old is afraid to take his mask off or go behind plexiglass, and we have kids in China that are 7 years old outpacing our 15-year-old math students, we have to put this behind us. Whatever assistance you need from us as parents, we're here. We support you guys 100%. And academically, the teachers have by far blown our standards away for entering into the community. But we need to move forward. And if parents need to be accommodated with their kids and they want to have it, let's do that. But let's go back to focusing on education, focusing on community, right? I mean, how many divisive has this gotten? And focus on being, successful, not only as parents, but as educators and as a community. So, on behalf of my wife and I, we really look forward to losing the masks and focusing on education and just getting back to normal. Not the new normal, normal America, and just, how our kids should be, together, playing and educating. So I just want to thank you guys for the time and letting me speak. And again, I apologize, I wasn't planning on coming up, but I appreciate the time. So thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Dobbs. We normally don't respond back, but I'm going to break procedure here. And I appreciate your offer to help. A lot of times we hear comments of just anger and complexity. And I appreciate that you come forward and say, hey, we're in this together. What can we all do? So if we can have that attitude moving forward, I think we're going to achieve some great things. So thank you, sir. Okay, thank you all. That brings us to announcements.
Right now, we have our upcoming meetings will be December 14th, Board of Directors meeting here at 7 o'clock. January 11th, Committee of the Whole. January 25th will be the next Board of Directors voting meeting. And then we would go into February as well, 8th and the 22nd. And, at this time with the reorganization, I know that there have been community members that have been asking for a change of venue. That would be a board decision, which, you will, let me know how we will proceed, and we'll go from there. Thank you. That ends my.
Okay, everybody, with that, looking for Ms. Nyman. Looking for a motion to adjourn would be from Ms. Nyman, a second from Ms. Hogan. I would say this meeting is adjourned. Welcome, everybody. Thank you all. Have a safe drive home. Thank you much.